everyone. Dr. Bree here.
Dr. Tig.
Dr. Brent.
Dr. Andrew.
We're your doctors at Pangea Chiropractic, and we're going to be talking today about bad habits. So if you're a patient here at Pangea, we know that we've talked to you before, and you know this, about the 3 necessary things that have to be on point for you to get healing and get results. Number 1, staying in rhythm with your adjustments, right? Number 2, stretches and exercises. If you've been here for a little while, you've probably gotten some of those from us already. Number 3 is these bad habits. But the question we get the most commonly, right, is how do I know what my bad habits are? So we're going to break it down for you today. There's essentially 3 categories that we need to look at. Doc, go ahead. First one.
Microtraumas. This is something things that you do every single day that you might not actually be thinking are causing problems, but they actually really are. Microtraumas are things like sleeping posture, how you drive, how you sit in your car when you're driving across town, and the biggie, the tech posture. How do you sit when you're on your device, whether it's a laptop or your cell phone? You may not be thinking that these things are causing problems, but they are. We see it every day.
Mm-hmm.
Doc, isn't it true that microtraumas are probably more of the problem than the macros? Like, people think that, oh, I go to the chiropractor because I fell. But yet they're living their whole life with their head forward, sleeping wrong. These macro traumas, right guys? Back me up on this.
Yeah.
These macro traumas are actually probably more debilitating for the long term because you do these things every day, all day.
They're
Absolutely.
cumulative, right? I mean, they're small
That's
things
right.
that build up over time, can add up to something bigger even than a massive car crash. So extra important to be aware of this stuff.
Those are even the hardest ones to identify. What am I doing every single day that I'm not even thinking about?
Yeah.
Right?
Right.
These are the habits that we fall into. And what if we knew that those weren't even our bad habits to begin with?
That's right.
The bigger ones, though, are called your macro traumas, and those are the easy ones to identify. So we spend our whole life trying to figure out what main event led me to come into this place in the first place. However, though, as Dr. Tig said, those daily micro traumas are all leading up to, boom, that big event. Car accidents, sports injuries, falling off of a ladder. All of this manifests, and it's easy to blame the big ones, but we need to take a step back and really focus in on those daily micro traumas that are accumulating over and over. And then, of course, the icing on the cake is that big incident.
So I think that the trick here is identifying the stuff that we don't even realize is an issue. And so there's this other category of stress that's chemical or toxic stress. And this one I think is probably the hardest for people to pinpoint, right?
It's not only hard, Dr. Bree, for patients to pinpoint, it's hard for doctors to pinpoint because it's almost this disconnected part of healthcare. Because it's not a physical event. It's not chronic stress and a microtrauma. You can't see it, right? Yeah. And something that we all talk about is that when we educate our patients, it's 100% you and it's 100% us. It's not 20% you and 80% us, or 80% you, 20% us. We have to be all in on this together, which means, Dr. Brent, finding bad habits, it's like we don't know what your bad habits are. We just know what most people's bad habits are. Right? And then holding you accountable. So this chemical stress is it's mind-blowing how much it's destroying our health. Right? Our brain communicates with our body through the nervous system. And when we put toxins on our body, like chemicals and makeups and lotions and potions and elixirs, whatever we put on our body, that stuff all gets absorbed. And then we talk about what we put in our body, the food that we eat. Are we eating organic and or are we eating GMOs? Are our crops covered with pesticides and herbicides? And does our water have chlorine in it? Like all of these things, our body's a sponge, right?
Yeah.
And our body's absorbing all of the stuff from the environment. So when we have the element of chemical stress on top of macro and micro traumas, it's the tipping point, right? The glass overflows. So the main source of subluxation and neurological dysfunction can be coming from chemical toxicity.
Yep. Yeah. I think one of my favorite things to say on this subject is that everything you put in or on your body is either feeding disease or fighting it.
Amen.
And if you're aware of those things, if you know, okay, my makeup you can't read half the ingredients on there, guys, that's not a good sign. And the foods that you're eating, look at the ingredient list. If you can't read half the stuff on there, you don't know what they are, that's a super easy place to start. Look at those labels, yeah?
Health is like a threshold, right, Dr.
Yeah.
Bree? It's like if you're constantly intoxifying your body with thoughts, traumas, and toxins, it keeps building and building and building, and then health starts to separate from that. So anything that we can do to lower our threshold with our pulling toxins and chemicals out of our environment,
Yeah.
we lower the threshold, which means health rises.
Absolutely, yeah. I've heard Dr. Andrew say this multiple times, you guys. I know you have too. What is my body toxic in? What is my body deficient in? If you can figure out those things, that plays a huge role into this chemical toxic potential stress that could be causing your subluxations, and that's one of these habits that we have, right?
Mm-hmm.
So the last one here, this is mental and emotional stress. And this is probably another one that's hard to pin down because, again, you can't see it, right? I mean, this is the stuff like, okay, watching the news, especially over the last 2 years, every single person I've talked to, yes, you want to be well-informed. Yes, you want to know what's going on. There is a serious boundary that needs to be placed there because after a certain extent, the awareness and the just bombardment of that negativity does more harm than it really does good. You have to be aware of what that's doing to your body because it has a physical effect. It can cause subluxation just like a physical stress, a microtrauma or a macrotrauma. Another one's relationships. And this is hard to talk about because it's not my place as your chiropractor be telling you whether you should be with your partner or talk to your family or all this stuff. What is my job is to tell you to be aware of it. And all of us have had these difficult conversations with our patients that, be aware of what kinds of good things and maybe what kinds of bad things we have habits of doing with the people that we surround ourselves with, and know that you have conscious control over who you choose to spend time with and where you choose to put your energy.
And we're all human. Our job is to teach you what bad habits are creating you to fall backwards, creating these long-lasting patterns. And your job now is to start implementing and identifying which areas need a little help. What do we need to stop doing, slow down doing, and start doing?
Absolutely.
That's right.
Yeah, if we can identify this stuff, you guys, you're all spending the time coming in here getting adjusted. If you're correcting your subluxations and correcting what caused them in the first place, now we're talking real results.
That's where the magic lives.
That's the magic.
So we're all in for you guys. Thanks for joining us for this little episode, and we hope that this transforms your life. We know that this conversation made us rich today. So
See you
cool.
soon.
Thank you.